Let's go JavaScripting! Hi everybody and welcome to another exciting edition of Boring JavaScript. I'm your host, the Virtual White, aka Mike Smith, and today we're going to be talking about the .padStart and .padEnd methods on strings. Now, both methods allow you to take a string and copy that to another string, and if the length of the destination string happens to be longer than the length of the original string, .padStart and .padEnd will then pad either the start or the end of that destination string with the characters that you specified. Like justification. Want to see how it works? Let's get started. So before I show you the .padStart and .padEnd methods, let's take a look first of all about of what we're going to try to achieve here with our reporting. So I flipped in the node here and I'm going to type in node old way because I'm going to first show you the old way of doing it. And notice what I have here now is I've got three fields: name, type, and classification. In the name field, I'm going to print out the name of each one of my animals. I happen to have a collection of animals, and each name is going to be exactly 10 characters long. So if the name of the animal happens to be less than 10 characters, like Fluffy here is 6 characters, I'm going to pad it on the very beginning here with 4 characters. The type field represents the type of the animal, and I'm going to do a left justification on it, and I'm going to have cat, dog, horse, and so on and so forth, which basically means I'm going to print out the type of the animal, and then I'm going to pad it with spaces up until it reaches a length of 11, because my type field happens to be 11 characters long. And finally, we have classification. Classification is I'm going to print out I'm going to do a right justification, but I'm going to put asterisks at the very beginning, which basically says that instead of padding it out with spaces, I'm going to pad it out with asterisks. And then I'm going to print the classification number on the right-hand side. So that's what we're going to try to achieve. So let me first show you the old way of doing it. So let's flip back over to our code. And as you can tell here is my array here of my collection of animals. I've got the type, the name, and the classification. No big deal here. Here's where I define the length of all 3 of my fields. Here's where I print the animal, which is something very simple here. What I've done here is I've written routines called right justify and left justify and right justify by number, which basically gives me the ability to pass in a name and the length of the field that I want to put that name into. So I'm going to right justify name within a 10-character field. I'm going to left justify type within an 11-character field. And let me move this over. I'm going to right justify, all the way over. I'm going to right justify classification with the length of the classification field, which I think is 14. Let me flip back over to the right. Yeah, it's 14, line 15 there. Notice, however, this is called right justification number because that basically means I'm going to put the asterisk at the beginning there instead of a space. So to actually do all that, I've got my routines here. This is the old way of having to do it. Basically, you needed to be able to say, I want to take a space character, repeat that for this number of characters, which in this case would be the length of the name. When we'll take name field, for example, the length of the name field is 10. We're going to say 10 minus the length of the text. That will give you the number of spaces to put in there, and then we're going to print the text. And that's what you do for right justification. Left justification is the same thing, which is reversed. I'm going to put the text there, and then I'm going to do a repeat on spaces for the number of characters that are left over after I subtract the length after I subtract the length of the text from the full length of the data field. And finally, right justified number is the exact same thing as right justified, except I'm going to do an asterisk there. And then I just do a simple little for each right down here to be able to print out the animals. And so that's what gave us everything we need to do for the old way. So as you can tell here, we've printed out here, we got the right justification here for the name, left justification for the type, and right justification with an asterisk for 1. So like I said, that was the old way of doing it. This can be fraught with a couple little problems, especially, well, what happens if full length minus text length is come out to be a negative number? What's going to happen? Well, I don't know. I don't know what happens when you do a repeat for -1. We may have to check for that. So there's a couple of little things here that could have some problems. For instance, I could also have combined right justified number with right justified by adding a third option here for doing a character count. So a number of different things I could have done here. But the fact of the matter is this is kind of long and you have to kind of look at it and try to figure out what's going on there. Well, .padStart and .padEnd eliminates that for you and makes it really, really easy. Let's start with .padStart and we'll do that one next. So let's now first take a look at .padStart. Now .padStart will copy your string and put extra spaces at the very beginning of the string if the destination string that you're going to want to output length is greater than the length of your string. And this is what it looks like. That's it. No biggie. Takes two arguments. Second one's optional, and I'll show you that here later. But the first one is the important one. The first one is going to be the length of the destination string. Notice that first of all, it is called on the string that we're bringing in. So in my rate justification routine here, I'm bringing in the text that I want to justify and the length of the final field I want to put it into. So both .padStart and .padEnd, as we'll get to it here in a second, is a method off of the string itself. So we're going to first of all reference the string, our incoming string, and we're going to use the .padStart method off of that. The full length here, or the length of the string, will be the length of the destination string. If the length of the destination string is greater than the length of the input string, then .padStart will put spaces at the very beginning of the string. So I have the spaces at the very beginning of the string, and then we'll have the string itself. And that's it. That's all it does. Now, what happens if this length is less than the length of the string? Nothing. The string is just copied in as is. So in case you have that kind of error, it takes care of that for you automatically. So if the length coming in, the argument to .padStart, is less than the length of the text that you're wanting to copy from, then the text is copied straight out. Otherwise, it's going to put spaces at the very beginning. So before, let me just flip actually over to my old way. In the old way, before, here's that big old long string, that nice, slightly complicated structure to be able to get to the start of the padding. Now all I got is just this. And it takes care of the error checking for me automatically. So you want to see how it works? Let's flip back over to Node. And let's type in node.padStart. And wow, it looks exactly like the one we had before. How about that? So that's what .padStart does, is it puts the spaces at the very beginning of the string if the length of the string that you want to output is greater than the length of the string that is coming in. So that's .padStart. What about .padEnd? What do you think that's going to do? Let's find out. So let's now take a look at .padEnd. Now, if you guessed earlier that .padEnd possibly might insert characters at the end of the string, you got it right. So it works exactly the same way as .padStart. Let's take a look at it first. There we go, line 28, that's it. There's nothing else to it. Just like .padStart, it takes two arguments. I'll show you the second argument here in a second. The first argument is the length of the string. And just like .padStart, it will copy in the string that the text string that you have, that you're calling .padEnd on. In this case, I'm calling it on text. And it's going to copy the contents of text into a new string with the new length of the length that we specify as the argument within .padEnd. And if that length is greater than our original length, it will put spaces at the very end of the string. Not at the very beginning like .padStart, but .padEnd, it puts it at the very end. So this gives you basically a left justification for your strings. And other than that, it works exactly the same. So just like with .padStart, if the size of, or the length of text is greater than the length you pass into it, it's just going to pass the data straight on in. That's it. It won't truncate, it won't do anything. So you want to see how it works? Let's flip over to Node, and let's type in node.padEnd, and what do you think is going to happen? Oh, look at that! It still left justifies it. Woo-wee! So that's basically all there is to .padEnd. Like I said, it works exactly the same way as .padStart, so there's really not much to it except it puts the spaces at the very end of your string. Now, earlier I said both in .padStart and .padEnd there is a second argument. Let's take a look at that next. So what's that mysterious second argument on both .padStart and .padEnd? It is the string that is used to fill at the beginning or at the end of the strings. By default, that is a single space character. And as you can tell, every time we've done this example here, I just had space characters in there, to pad off to the start of the end. But you don't have to use just a space character. You can use any string that you want. So right down here, I got right justified number. And remember, this is the routine we're going to call if we want to have those asterisks at the very beginning. And this is the old code that we're using to put the asterisk at the very beginning. I'm going to copy the right justify from line 24. I'm going to put it down here at 32. And then I'm going to give it a second argument here of an asterisk. And that's it. That's all it really needs to do. So now I'm telling, in this particular case, the pad start to say, hey, don't use spaces to pad it out. Use an asterisk. So let's take a look and see what happened. Let's flip back over to node, and let's type in node character. Did I spell that right? Yeah. And there we go. We have the asterisk. You want to make sure it actually does work? Let's flip over to back to our code, and let's put a little hyphen inside there. Let's flip back over to node, and let's type in, let's clear out the screen, go back to node character. Now we got hyphens at the very beginning. So that shows you can put any string you want as the second argument to both pad start and pad end. Now, I want to emphasize to you here that I kept very purposefully saying you could put any string inside there, not necessarily any character. Now, it defaults to a single space character, and I've been putting, an asterisk was a character and this hyphen was a character. But you could put actually any string inside there. So for example, if I go down to 32 here and I type in LOL asterisk space, that's actually going to use LOL, LOL exclamation mark space as the string to insert into the padding. Let's take a look at it. Let's go to node. Let's clear off the screen. Go back to character. And there you go. I got the LOL inside there. And notice in this particular case, it's a 14 character length here. It could only do the first 13 characters, so it just kept repeating LOL exclamation mark space until it couldn't go any further. So that's why we only just got the LOL at the very end there. So again, it just didn't insert just LOL exclamation mark space and that's it. It just kept repeating it over and over and over again until we're finished here. So you can use both single characters and multi-character strings as your second argument to both pad end and pad start. And that's all there is to the pad start and pad end methods on strings. I hope you enjoyed our video. Hope it didn't bore you to death. Please view all of our videos at www.boringjavascript.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel or check out everything we have at www.thevirtualwhite.com. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you later.